gotta remember to. Okay. And then when you don't want to talk, just pull it away. Nah, relax. Chill. It's fun.
No, but that's why I want to put it.
You're good. Do whatever you want.
You can sit back.
As long as we can hear you.
Eric, you can sit back. You can be you.
Oh, that's even better.
Yeah. That's how you are. That's how you are.
Okay. All right. Good evening. Okay.
I got it. I'll start it off. Okay. I'm gonna start it off. All right. Okay. You just roll with the punches when we ask you questions and hang out with us.
All right.
1, 2, roll.
1, 2, 3. What's up, guys? I'm Joe Vargas. As usual, Maggie Duarte is with me, and today we literally have a special guest to me, Eric Bonilla. What's up, Big Eric?
How you doing, Joe? Hey, glad to be here, and thank you for inviting me.
Let me tell you a little bit about Eric for those of you that are younger that don't know. He was involved in boxing when I was I'm not gonna make him feel old, dog, but
I am old.
when I was younger, he was the man. He put a lot of fights together, been around big people, big cards, big shows, and he's coming back, helping me out with some fighters and doing stuff like that. Eric, for those that don't know you, like, talk about a little bit about yourself. What's up? Talk.
No, I came here through the military. Then when I got out, I decided to stay in San Diego because I was raised in the Bronx in New York City, and there's a lot of difference between the Bronx and San Diego. So I decided to stay out here, and since I love boxing, I just walked into a gym called Fifth Avenue Boxing Club in downtown San Diego.
Woo.
In 1975, I think it was.
Who was there? Was that Joe there?
Joe Lopez was there.
Lopez, huh?
He was running the show. And I told Joe, I was only like 19 years old, and I told Joe, I think I can do this boxing stuff. And he goes, well, a lot of people tell me that, and they don't last 2 or 3 weeks. And then, funny thing, I ended up lasting like 50 years.
You can't blame Joe. This sport's not for everybody. Everybody wants to fight, but once they get hit and they get disciplined.
And you know what? That's still true. 2, 3 weeks. And you see people super consistent, and then they spar once, and then... Yeah, that's pretty much it.
No, it's a tough business. It's a real tough business. And I tell everybody that I meet, I say, listen, I've been like all over the world, and everywhere you go, there's thousands and thousands of fighters. You go into a gym.
Yeah.
You know, and look, like I say, in Mexico, they got a gym probably in every city. In Puerto Rico, same thing. They got a gym in every city.
Right.
And very few people come out of there to become world champions and successful. And the key is to become a successful prize fighter.
Right,
That's the key.
And to you, what do you think, to you, right? Because everybody's got their own opinion. But to Eric Bonilla, what does it take to be a successful prize fighter?
Okay. One is, dedication. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you like the game, you have to come to the gym,
right?
And come to the gym and do and meet somebody that loves you and can coach you and have the chemistry with you,
right?
Because I find out a lot in my lifetime. I found that chemistry to me is more than just a great trainer. Yeah, you can. There's a great trainers out there. There's no doubt,
right?
However, if you don't have chemistry with them, it's not going to work. However, if you find a regular trainer that you have the chemistry with, you guys can work it out and become very successful at it.
Absolutely. That's something that I believe is very important too. That, you talk about discipline. Obviously, those things are important. But if you don't have that trainer, right, that solid team around you who believes in you, and who you believe in the trainer as well, because it goes both ways.
Exactly.
You can go far. You can go far for sure.
You can have chemistry. I mean, I could give you perfect examples like let's just I am what they call a Puerto Rican by nationality. So I've been around the best in the world. Thank God, lucky. But it's like I'll give you an example and he became trainer of the year 3 or 4 times. Which is Miguel Cotto's uncle. Mm-hmm. Never fought in his life, but they have so much good chemistry and they learn so much about boxing that he became, like I said, he was trainer of the year three times, 3 different years.
Yeah.
Yet he never boxed.
Right.
And I hate to say it like this, but the greatest trainer of all time, quote, quote, so people say, was of course Angelo Dundee, right? And Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray Leonard, et cetera, et cetera. But he never fought.
Right.
The key to the situation is studying the game, have chemistry with the fighter. And if you're lucky, you're going to find that fighter that brings you to the top. And that's what you're looking for, that fighter. Because in actuality, yes, great trainers, no doubt. However, you got to have that fighter. The fighter is the key to life, as I see it.
Right. Okay, you named 2 trainers. I'm going to play devil's advocate today.
Ooh.
Okay? I like to be the... Angelo Dundee.
Yeah.
Who did he make?
Well, he, of course, he worked with, before, I think it was Willie Pastrana. Before he fought, he already had the light heavyweight champion of the world and then he met, of course, the greatest one of them all, which is Muhammad Ali.
No, but he didn't make any of those.
Well, technically speaking, he didn't make the fighter. He did not.
He's a great trainer. But
a great trainer, yeah, but, okay.
Can Ali be Ali without Dundee?
Yes.
Thank you.
No, that's a key to the situation. And he's right about what he's saying. Sometimes, like I give you, if they fall from the sky and God said he's going to be a great fighter, then so be it.
Anybody that's good driving a Lamborghini, dog.
Yeah, I mean, like he says, Muhammad Ali, I could name you, he was like a brother to me, which my little brother, which was a Hector Macho Camacho. When he was born, he was born with gloves on. So, it's and of course, Felix Trinidad. Right. I could name you on and on some great fighters, Because
to me, Miguel Cotto's uncle was great for Miguel Cotto.
Right. Yes.
But after that.
That's it.
Miguel Cotto.
Well, Miguel Cotto went some great trainers, with quote, quote, they say. Because training to me, there's great trainers, of course. But you got to have the fighter.
Miguel Cotto's foundation was his father. He didn't
his father and his uncle, yeah.
His uncle and his father.
Yeah.
Once the father passed away, it kind of like trickled down. It like kind of broke up, right?
Yeah. A little bit. But his father was the one that, of course, put the time into bringing him to the gym and just keeping him in the gym, and showing him to be dedicate himself. This is what you're gonna do, you got to give 100% on it.
Right.
And that's what Miguel Cotto did. And of course, the history is history.
I love him.
A great fighter.
When Miguel Cotto's dad died, I forgot what fight was after that, but he was so used to having his dad there that his mom stepped in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was like, wow, that hit me. That was like his mom took the dad's role.
Yeah.
What do you think about trainers like Cuyo Hernandez?
A great trainer of Mexico.
I just
trained a lot of world champions.
He made champions from the ground up.
Yeah, he made champions. That's a very good situation. Now, I personally, consider a trainer is when he starts from the ground, like from the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And then he develops the fighter all the way up to, let's say, his 20th fighting for the world title. And you have throw the word in there, luck. You have the luck of winning. Then you become.
How about Eric? A coach that takes a fighter with like 3 losses and just changes his whole career.
No, that's a great trainer.
Yeah.
Like I said, from the ground up. What is the beginning of the ground up? The beginning of the ground up is when you start a kid from the beginning.
Yeah.
How to walk. That's a great trainer. That's why I love very good amateur coaches, because they take them from the ground. And then once, of course, other trainers got to help through their life. But, that trainer that starts you out from the beginning is the key to the chemistry and that knows you from the beginning of time.
Right.
That's why I love Virgil Hunter, because he had Andre Ward since he was a kid.
Yeah, good trainer.
I love Chepo Reynoso with Canelo and Eddie.
Yeah, the old man Reynoso, great trainer.
Yep.
Got that from the beginning, and and Canelo came from the sky too, as I say. Because I always say.
It's a gift from God.
A gift from God, like Roberto Duran, Reynoso. All the great fighters I have met, personally, I think that
They were brought to the earth for.
They were brought to the earth for that specific reason.
Yeah.
And of course, you gotta have, of course, you know, the chemistry that surrounds you.
Yeah.
You know, which is positive.
Yeah.
Duran, man, like I know you were around him.
I love him.
What was it like? Because he was like surreal. Like to me, that's the only way I like fighting at 135 all the way to 160, 168.
165, 168, even 75.
Well, when he beat Iran Barkley, I was like, what the hell happened?
A great fighter. To me, of course, you got, look, of course, you got in this modern time, you got Canelo Alvarez, you got, you know, Chavez, you got a lot of great fighters, you know, like a lot of great Latino fighters, of course, yeah. You know, Marquez, I love him. I love Marquez, a great fighter. I thought, you know, but what I'm saying is that in my lifetime, the greatest Latino fighter I ever saw in my lifetime is Roberto Duran, without question. And by the way, fellas, I am Puerto Rican, and you know we had great ones. Camacho was my brother. Trinidad was my son, etc., etc. Wilfredo Gomez was a brother of mine. They all, you know, great fighters. And I'm Puerto Rican, for God's sake. But the greatest fighter I ever saw in my lifetime, I have to go with Roberto Duran. I never seen anybody like that.
Second.
You know? The second fighter I ever saw, that's a good question because there's a lot of them in second place. I could put Trinidad. I could put Marquez. I could put Chavez, the legend, which is I love Chavez. Don't get me, I love him. He's my brother. I love him. You know, Canelo Alvarez, of course, and then you know, et cetera, et cetera. There's a lot of them that could be number two. So I'm like, you know, to pick number two, you know, it's very difficult. Very difficult. You know, I like to say, and then Camacho, of course, was different than everybody else. You know, the legend.
He was like a movie star. Huh?
And he was like a movie star, and he brought all that flamboyance to the boxing game. So, you know, that's why, you know, it's hard to pick number two. Because you got about 5 of them that could be number two, with no doubt. With no doubt.
You know, Hector Camacho has such an influence in Puerto Rican boxing. When I was a kid and I go to Mexico to train sometimes, they'd always say the Puerto Ricans son bien fanfaronos, which means like they're show-offs.
Yeah.
Right.
But he's the only one I ever remember seeing that way.
Yeah.
Trinidad would come in, handle business.
Yeah.
Cotto, and I mean, there's way more.
No,
Rafido Benitez. And then I was like, that's a fucked stereotype because Camacho he could get away with it.
You know, Camacho was the most flamboyant fighter, black, I mean, in any era.
Yeah.
You know, the most flamboyant fighter, you know, one of the most flamboyant fighters I ever seen in my lifetime. And I was blessed because he was my little brother, and I love him. You know what I'm saying? And, you know and I had a chance to hang out with him, as people know. More than anybody, probably. Well, not more than anybody. There's Raymond Muhammad and Tony El Barbero from L.A., Chicano, and Camacho baptizes their kids and all that good stuff. But, you know, we were all real close.
Who would be you think, who else had that same flamboyancy? Vinny Paciencia?
No, I would like, there's a few of them that
who do you stand out? Like, you think Pernell Whitaker? Oh, Nasir Hamed.
Nasir Hamed was there too. Nasir Hamed, a good flamboyant fighter also. But no matter how flamboyant you can get, I never seen anybody like my little brother, Hector Macho Camacho, the legend, as I call him. Because I call him the legend. I call his son, who's my son, who's like a son to me now, because his father died. You know, I say the legend. Then I say Junior, because I call Hector Macho Camacho Junior. I gave him that name.
Junior.
You know? Yeah. So, it's great. It's great. It's greatness.
I was thinking, like, earlier we were talking, and you said you were at the Camacho Hagen fight.
Uh-huh.
There was over 120,000 people there. Do you remember
the Chavez. You're talking about the Chavez Greg Hagen fight.
Yeah, Chavez and Hagen.
Great, yeah. 120,000 people there. The reason why I was there took us, Terry Norris, which is now account.
Oh, I forgot. That night. Yeah. Terry fought against, I forgot who he fought.
He fought, he won though, but okay, right this second, and I apologize for this, I kind of forget who he fought, but he did win.
Michael Nunn fought that night too, no? I remember that card, man. I remember watching that fight. But what was it like watching 120,000
people? You can't. It was like I never seen like anything like that before. You know, that was of course the great one, Don King. Though we disagree sometimes with each other, but I love Don King. The greatest promoter I ever saw in my lifetime.
He was special. He's still alive, no? He's still alive.
He can what I say. He can put the whole puzzle together. He can create an environment for boxing and control it, which is the key, better than anybody I saw in my lifetime.
You know, you saw a different era of boxing, a way different era of boxing. I'm talking like when boxing was probably at its peak,
best,
right? At its best. What do you think about this era right now?
No, this era got very good fighters too. I mean, are they as good as yesterday's fighters in the 70s, 80s, and 90s? Maybe. Personally, to be honest and truthful, I don't think they are. However, they're getting better and better lately.
Right.
It all depends on, you know, on of course on the coaching.
Right.
And the coaches, don't forget, fellas, you got to remember the old days, huh? Okay? You know, you got to get that, you know, you got to get the old days always going to work. Okay.
I think also a big part of that too is that they're just not fighting each other. And I think that has a lot to do with it. It's hard to know who's really, you know, great, right?
That is a very good point this young lady made right now. A very good point. That's a problem that we have, that they're not fighting. The best of the best are not really fighting each other.
Right.
Because the promoters are going at each other instead of uniting, which is what we're trying to go do in San Diego again. Right. Unite. And then, you know, boxing could be better because everybody can help everybody out. And not only that, but, you know, money could be made better.
Right.
You know, and the fights are better.
Right.
You know?
It's hard to know who stands out right now. You know? Like, yeah, you have a few, but who really, really stands out of this new generation that's coming up? And
at least to you.
It's hard to tell, you know?
Yeah, no, it is hard. It is hard to tell, you know. After I think, you know, with all due respect, after I think that the Mayweather went out of the picture, it's been pretty difficult to single out a specific, you know, a specific fighter that's, you know, that everybody wants to watch.
Right.
You know? But, you know, I mean, you got Canelo, which is he's great. I love him. He's a great fighter. You know, and you got others, but they have to fight. Canelo, I love him, and he knows that. You know, Eddie Reynoso, I love him, and he knows that too. However, we might have to fight to become a great. I mean, of course, the word greatness, right?
Yeah.
You know, he's got to fight the Mexican in
monster.
He's got to fight the monster, man. I hate to say it. You know, I love Canelo, and I hate to say that, but Canelo, I think you're gonna have to fight him, bro.
Not to change the subject, man, but
and not to change the subject as Mr. Joe Vargas telling me, but Canelo, if you don't fight him now, when you get older, it's gonna be more difficult. So you better fight him now.
I think it's too difficult now.
I think it's difficult now.
That fight should have been 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But you know, you don't got what you got 1 year, 2 years left, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you gotta fight him now, bro.
The monster's getting better.
Yeah.
Because the monster's getting better. That's something that Mr. Joe Vargas was saying. The monster is getting better and better.
Yeah.
So let's fight him now.
I was looking at the card and
Dale con el gancho.
and Ciudad Mexico and Chavez card. Look how stacked this card was. Terrence Ali fought that day. People don't know him, but he was a great fighter. He fought Chavez. I'm going to go to the big names. Felix Trinidad fought on the undercard.
Yeah. Wow.
Gerald McCullum was one of my favorite fighters. Michael second to none. Chavez, Terry Norris, and Asuma Nelson. The guys on the B side, great fighters. Gabriel Ruelas, Maurice Blocker, Greg Hagen. I don't know about Dan Morgan, man. That guy shouldn't have been in there with Michael Nunn, but I remember that fight. And Adam Vargas was pretty good. He got knocked out by Jose Vadillo. That was a stacked card.
Yeah, it was.
Trinidad Jr. was on that one.
Greatness at his best. Greatness at his best, yeah.
Everybody was fighting everybody, man. I think that's absolutely what needs to happen now.
You know why people consider Duran one of the greatest?
What's that?
He fought the best guys in every weight division.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
He didn't duck no one.
He didn't duck no one. He wasn't scared of no one.
People fought
Everybody was scared of him.
People fought the mandatories.
Yeah.
I want to ask you something. It just came up like 2 days ago on one of my feeds on social media. It says Jose Luis Ramirez
Great fighter.
should be in the Hall of Fame,
Yes.
and he's not.
Yes.
Over 100 wins.
No. I think we have to look into that. I'm glad you told me that. When I go to Vegas and I see one of the Hall of Famers CEO people, that work with the, I'm gonna tell him about that because he definitely belongs in the Hall of Fame. And he actually beat. I mean, it was a close fight, of course, but he actually beat Pernell Whitaker. I mean, they did it was a real close fight. I watched the fight, in the Bahamas, I think it was. But it was a real close fight, and he did get the decision. And then he fought Chavez, to 12 rounds.
That was a headbutt. It went to the scorecard.
Dang.
And then he beat the guys that beat Chavez.
Yeah. So, Luis Ramirez, a lefty.
And he fought Arguello.
The lefty from Culiacan.
Yep.
He grew up with the legend Julio Chavez.
They were homies and they had to fight. They had to face each other.
And they fought each other.
Mandatories. But motherfuckers facing their best friends.
Yeah.
And you have motherfuckers now like, oh no, I can't face him because
he's my buddy.
He's my boy. He's my best friend.
Great fighter.
I remember the show here in San Diego. Who was on that one? Maurice Blocker lost to Trinidad, no?
Maurice Blocker lost to Trinidad. Well, funny thing that everybody was telling me, Bonilla, you're putting a kid against a man. And I said, yeah, he might be a kid. We a monster. And, we knocked him out in 2 rounds, won a lot of money that day, too.
That was here in San Diego.
In San Diego, it was great. Great fight with, we did the show with DK.
So let me just, when I was younger, I was a kid. I don't know how old I was. This guy was matchmaking, doing these big shows. Right. So he would walk in the gym and I would look at Eric Bonilla walk in. He had this aura about him, right?
Yeah.
And the swag. And he was doing the big fights. He would always say what's up to everybody and laugh, like how he is.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't get near him. Not like that. not like that. Not like he wasn't pushing me away. But I was like, when you see somebody like how he says he saw Camacho?
Yeah.
That's how I would see Bonilla because I knew the fight game. Most people just watch fights.
Yeah.
And watch the fighters. My uncle's Joe Cortez.
Right.
And my family. So I know.
Great referee.
My uncle Gaspar Ortega, my cousin Mike Ortega. I've been around the game. So I know the guys that do all the ins and outs of the fights.
Right.
So I respect matchmakers, all the old school ones, the ones that didn't have to study film.
Right.
They didn't go. They didn't YouTube opponents. They go fucking see who.
Watch the fight.
I go. Usually, my key thing was actually going to the gym and actually see the fighter himself. And I hate to say it like this, but when I was younger, I even used to get into the ring with the fighters. And even when I was young, and then when I got a little older, I used to do a mix with the fighters just to make sure that I'm doing the right thing with the matchmaking.
That was real matchmaking.
Yeah, Marty Denkin said, Bonilla, you're the best. I'm the best in the West. I used to say.
Because matchmaking is so easy now. Who are you fighting? YouTube this guy. Okay.
It's all paper.
It's all paper.
Yeah.
Eric did it the old school way when you go meet the fighters, talk to them.
I meet the fighters, I look at them. And I still have a tendency of doing that, just to know how good the fighters are when they tell me there's a good fighter. I mean, I could travel. I go to wherever, Kansas, Florida, New York, wherever the fighter is, I go there to watch him. I did that with a few good fighters,
Maggie, one time I told Bonilla, I don't know if he remembers this, but I told him, I got this kid.
Yeah.
He's strong, he's powerful, he's smart. And Bonilla hit me with something, and I'm going to bring it up right now. He said, but can he take a shot? And I said, I don't know. He doesn't, I haven't seen it yet. He's like, doesn't matter if you can do all that if he can't take a shot.
Yeah. Well, the key,
you're going to get hit, dog.
The key is, as I look at it, and this is a fact, and great fighters know this, no matter how great you are, you got the greatest skills in the world. But if you can't take that one punch in the chin, it's very difficult to be successful and win. You got to be able to absorb the punch.
Right.
And you have to work at it. You know what I'm saying? Do a lot of neck exercises, do a lot of sit-ups, do a lot of push-ups. Make your body, and this is for the boxing people that are coming up, make that body of yours as hard, like a rock or cement. You got to make that body real hard, like a rock or cement, to withstand the punch. You have to withstand the punch. That's the key to life itself. You have to withstand the punch.
Yeah.
Eric, that's when they would do like the exercises with the neck, and then they bite the towel with the weights on and go up and down. And those motherfuckers were different. They weren't doing no strength and conditioning like they are now.
No.
Always, always try to do a lot of neck exercises. Watch maybe tapes of maybe Mike Tyson's, Roberto Duran.
Canelo still does it.
Canelo, you got to build a strong chin so you can withstand that punch, and build your stomach so you can withstand that body shot.
Right.
That's
true. That's the first thing you hear from people who haven't sparred in a long time, and they go in for, after however long months, and they're like, it's not just the conditioning, it's like those body shots, were hurting me. Shots that would have never hurt me when I was in shape.
Yeah.
It's true.
You observe punches when you're not physically strong differently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it zaps your energy. It takes something.
Okay.
It does. Big time.
I want to fight with Bonilla a little bit.
Uh-oh.
Right now we're eating, we're having lunch.
Breaking bread.
And Bonilla said something. He
What'd
said
he say?
Bruce Lee was the greatest fighter he ever saw.
Uh-oh.
Okay. The reason why I say Bruce Lee, no. As far as fighting, because he wasn't a fighter per se or a boxer, but I'm just saying, as far as the maneuvering technical skills that he had, he can control like the air around him. I like to think that about, the energy that surrounds him. I like to think about, of course, Muhammad Ali, Sugar Ray. Okay, Muhammad Ali, of course, but the greatest fighter, since you mentioned the boxing wise. The greatest fight I ever saw in my lifetime, always remember, in my lifetime, is Sugar Ray Leonard. And I'm going to tell you why.
That's my favorite.
And I'm going to tell you why.
He switched it up on me at the restaurant. He said something else. But go ahead.
No, but that's our fighting techniques. Because, the fighting aspect of life, boxing is boxing. But what I'm saying, the fighting aspect of life, you got to bring it to Bruce Lee. Because Bruce Lee will remember for the next 1,000 years.
But why do we remember Bruce Lee for? He didn't do nothing.
No, but he's just his maneuverable skills in a space, and you give him a space, and you can see his body movements all over the space in a given space, and you can see the energy that he flows into the
before I make people mad
into that specific room.
You mean it's like his aura.
It's
his
like controlling energy. Yeah,
his energy.
It's like, then again, look. To me, the greatest boxing fight I ever saw in my lifetime, Sugar Ray Leonard. I'm gonna tell you why. All 10s, speed, power, chin, ring generalship. No way he's at. Sugar Ray Leonard was all 10s.
Hey, wait.
You score all 10s.
What about Roberto Duran?
No, great. No, all 10s
Yeah.
also. Except maybe in speed it was like a 9. And in legs, it was like a 9. But Ray was in speed, he was a 10.
Yeah.
And in legs, he was a 10.
Yeah.
They love each other. I mean, I love them both. I'm the only one that has a picture with both of them. Except for Freddie Martinez in San Francisco. He's got one too.
So you're saying that Roberto Duran is the greatest you ever saw personally, like in
Latino-wise in my lifetime.
Okay.
But the greatest boxing, because, Ray is black, right? I mean, Ray was married to a Puerto Rican. Ray was a fighter because in what I saw, all 10s.
Yeah.
He was 10 on every single score.
Well-rounded.
Yeah.
I tell
even Tommy. Let me give you Tommy. I love Tommy. Tommy's my boy. I love his family. I know his family. Tommy's the Hitman Hearns, Detroit. All 10s too. But with all due respect, Tommy was a 9 in the chin, or maybe an 8. You know what I'm saying? But he could have been. A matter of fact, now that you mentioned that, in my lifetime, if it wouldn't have been for that, he could have been 10s. He could have been the greatest of them all.
Yeah, Marvin Hagler. Come on, dog.
And then there was Marvin Hagler there too.
No, I'm saying you're judging Tommy Hearns. You're not judging him. You're speaking about Tommy Hearns getting knocked out.
Yeah.
He got knocked out by 2 10s.
Yeah,
one 10 and a 9.
Yeah. No, he but that's what I'm saying. When you look at all these characters, okay, Tommy, leg wise, because of speed with the legs, I say great fighter. Marvin, a legend, a great fighter. However, to me, leg-wise, he was like a 9. He wasn't a 10. But Ray, I'm just saying that Ray was a 10 on every single specific.
You guys post on your comments who your favorite fighters were of all time. To me, Sugar Ray Leonard is my favorite. I've said that. Yeah. Sugar Ray Leonard and Chavez. Depends what day you ask me.
Yeah.
Sugar Ray, because I just admired him looking at him.
Yeah.
But if I want to act like if I wanted to imitate a fighter, I couldn't imitate Sugar Ray Leonard because I didn't have those abilities.
Right.
So I imitate Chavez more because
he's a legend.
You know, but they're both two. Those are my top two, and I brought that up a lot of times. And back to Bruce Lee.
Yeah.
Oh, I love him.
Bruce Lee, and you guys put comments right there if you guys don't believe me. Never won nothing in real life.
No.
You can preach all day. Oh, that water is halfway cup. Be like water.
No, he wasn't. But he was into another aspect of life.
You want to talk about fighters that fought actors? Chuck Norris.
Ooh.
Chuck Norris, great.
But he wasn't out there being all philosophical.
Great.
And then when I saw a story when he fought Bruce Lee in a movie.
Yeah.
He told Bruce Lee, so I have to lose to you? Like, I would not lose to you in real life.
Yeah.
But it was a movie.
Yeah.
But Bruce Lee goes, we're going to go back and forth. Come on, dog. Like, I don't believe that Hollywood fighting shit. You know, to me, Bruce Lee was a good actor. And he made us all believe he could fight.
I think that...
He was all philosophical.
And that's
if
part of the aura.
If you guys disagree, let me know.
He died at a young age, too.
I'm just speaking about... When you make money off of selling things, you get to get critiqued. Like if you fight and you're a fighter, you're gonna get critiqued by reporters and people. You know,
absolutely, that's part of it.
So I wasn't a Bruce Lee fan.
Yeah.
Yes, evidently.
So you have to understand.
When we were eating, he said Bruce
Lee was way before his time, though. Bruce Lee died in 1972.
Dang.
And I was 17 years old. He broke my heart, but that was his body movements and his ways of controlling the atmosphere around him and
he just had an aura. He had an energy.
Was
magnificent.
About him. And I hate to say this, and check this out.
It's like me liking Rocky, dog. I love Rocky,
it's
but
just
you can't fight.
It's just like me. No, because I'm into energy a lot, and I see it on people a lot.
Energy.
But check this out. The greatest energy I ever saw in my lifetime was not a boxer, and I'm into the boxing, of course, right? And I'm into other sports, but the greatest energy as far as controlling the energy that surrounds him is Michael Jordan, the basketball player.
Come on, dog. That motherfucker's a man, dog.
That guy can control the atmosphere around him like there was no tomorrow.
Man, right there. Okay, so we're going to talk about energy in sports. Who had the energy that you liked in baseball? I say Roberto Clemente because he's Puerto Rican.
Well, number one, because that was growing up. I grew up with Roberto Clemente. Of course, I like A-Rod, Alex Rodriguez, and of course, but the best I like out of everybody, I wanna have to go with Derek
Jeter. I was gonna say Derek Jeter.
I'm gonna have to go with Derek Jeter. Yeah.
I agree with that one.
Yeah.
Do you watch football? Tackle football? NFL?
Yeah, I watch NFL pretty good.
Who was one of your favorite players in the NFL?
No, the greatest I ever saw in my lifetime, which I became a fan of football, was the one from...
Tell me the team, I'll tell you.
Tom Brady. The one from
the Patriots?
Yeah, New England Patriots. I mean, he controls... This is what I'm trying to tell you guys.
The energy.
He's controlling the atmosphere that surrounds you.
Yeah.
In that specific room. And, of course, Michael Jordan did that the best I ever thought. And, of course, Tom Brady did that the best I ever saw in my lifetime in football. Just like Muhammad Ali, Hector Macho Camacho, Roberto Duran, Ray Leonard, and et cetera, Chavez, they control the environment around that ring, around that square, around that room.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's like magic, really.
Eric, I got a game with you that I want to do, and I just thought about it right now. In my head, it's just fresh.
Let's go.
Who would win? Roberto Duran in his prime or Manny Pacquiao in his prime?
Roberto Duran.
How?
The power was just too much and too strong physically.
What do you think, Maggie?
A real strong physically.
I think Duran too. Yeah.
Okay, here's one a popular
physically,
one.
he was too strong.
In your opinion, Mike Tyson or Muhammad Ali?
That's a good one. I think that in his prime, Muhammad Ali was just too fast and his legs were too quick. It's like a Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali type of fight, you know. I mean, that's the way I see it. You know, if Mike gets in, maybe he could hit him, you know. But I just think that Muhammad Ali was just too fast for anybody, really. And his legs were just too quick. And he was such a smart fighter. And check this one out. Could be, I mean, of course, Roberto Duran, because of Tommy, could be second. But the best chin I ever saw in my lifetime, I got to give it to Muhammad Ali.
Yeah.
Because he got hit by Ernie Shavers.
Foreman.
He got hit by Foreman. He got hit by Sonny Liston. He got hit by monster fighters, and he withstood the shot.
Buster Mathis.
You know, I mean,
guys, yeah.
That's the greatest chin I ever seen.
I had another fight. I had a couple fights. Oh, well, I know he's going to go with because he already said who is the best fighter he's ever seen. But now I'm even embarrassed to ask him this question. Sugar Ray Leonard against ML Griffith.
No, Ray would
destroy
win.
him, huh?
Not destroy, because ML Griffin was a very good fighter.
Yeah, he was a great fighter. He was like the Mike Tyson of the welterweights.
Pressure. Yeah. The welterweight, he won the middleweight title too, because they didn't have at that moment in time when he was fighting. They didn't have the juniors. They didn't have junior middleweight. They didn't have junior welterweight. You know, and things like that. But he could have won those too.
Okay, here's another one. Wilfredo Gomez against Tank Davis.
Oh, that's a good one, man. I don't know, man. That's a tough one. But you know, Tank, greatness right now, this moment in time, you know. But the other one was like a legend, so it could go either way on that one. I would say either way, and then the weight has a lot to do with it. At 26, probably Wilfredo Gomez will win. At 130, 135, I'm gonna say Tank Davis can win. You know, it all depends on the weight, considering that fight.
Here's one of my dream fights.
Let's hear it.
Pernell Whitaker versus Floyd Mayweather.
Oh, that's a good one, man.
Woo.
Man, that's a good one, man. I don't know. I don't know who would win. It's like a flip of a coin on that one, because that's greatness
and greatness
in his time and greatness in today's time, you know, which is Mayweather, you know. So it's greatness on both times. So I don't know. And both of them weren't great punchers, but they still can punch.
Well, they were great punchers. Well, Floyd was a great puncher at 130.
At 130.
135, 140. But after that, I mean, he fought big boys.
And then Pernell Whitaker was a good puncher at 35 also. But he was, you know, 47 and high. He was okay, you know. But that's...
IQ-wise.
That's a very good fight.
Would you say it's pretty even IQ-wise? Like...
IQ, yeah, that's... Oh, you know. She hit it right on the dot because they both were so smart. Both fighters are extremely, very, very smart. I mean, one of the great... That's why Pernell Whitaker was able to withstand the Chavez situation, because he was such a smart fighter.
Smart, intelligent.
You know, very intelligent fighter. And so is Pernell Whitaker.
Yeah, defensively sound, both of them, too.
Mayweather.
That's a tough one.
Yeah, real tough on that one.
That's a good fight. You know what? I haven't heard that
yeah, that's a good match.
Yeah.
That's a good match. Yeah.
That's it?
Yeah.
No, I got a couple more.
Let's go.
In their prime, Carlos Monzon against Roy Jones Jr.
It all depends on what weight.
Well, a middleweight.
Oh, man, a middleweight, I'm going to go, I don't know. You know, because, you know, hey, you know, Roy Jones my boy, you know what I'm saying? Floyd,
no, we're not getting...
He's my boy, but
we're not trying to
he did go up in weight. Pound for pound, I think Roy Jones, I don't know, man. But Carlos Monzon was a monster at 160, man.
Yep.
I mean, a monster. I mean, he can hit really, really hard. Listen, and I hate to say this one, but I saw in Philadelphia Carlos Monzon with a left hook knocked down Joe Frazier.
In sparring? Yeah.
In a sparring session. Okay? That happened one time. You know? So it's kind of interesting. Just like I saw Felix Trinidad knock down the heavyweight champion of the world at that moment in time, John Ruiz. That happened too, you know?
Damn, he knocked
in
him
a
down?
sparring session. Yeah.
Heard it here.
In Puerto Rico. So
Breaking.
it's interesting, you know. It's very interesting, you know. But these guys were great hitters, though. Carlos Monzon, a great hitter. Felix Trinidad, a monster of a hitter.
I gave you Pernell Whitaker against Mayweather. Here's my Mexican one. Julio Cesar Chavez against Salvador Sanchez.
I knew it.
Oh my God, what a fight! The greatest fight in Mexican history.
I'm gonna pick Salvador, dog.
If it's a decision, it could be Salvador Sanchez.
15 rounds. Let's do 15 rounds.
If we do 15 rounds at 130 pounds, I'm going to give a slight edge to Chavez because of the weight. Because, you know, Salvador Sanchez was
Dog,
a 22 and a 26 pounder.
Let me just give you why I think Sanchez. We saw Chavez against Azabache Martinez, and he had a hard fight. Azabache Martinez didn't have the abilities that Salvador did. And that fight, he won it, but he took a beating to win that one.
Yeah.
What did Salvador do with Alfredo Gomez? The assassin.
No.
Asuma Nelson, who nobody stopped.
We cried that night when Salvador Sanchez fought with Alfredo Gomez. I was there.
Yeah, but you guys made us cry all the time when he beat Zarate, Zamora. That motherfucker beat everybody, dog.
No, he beat everybody, but I told him.
Hey, like you said earlier, his luck had to run out, dog.
No, his luck ran out. No, but and the training was.
I heard he wasn't taking it serious. I heard that shit.
No, the training wasn't. Okay, 100. You didn't see 100% of Alfredo Gomez. You might have seen maybe 85 or 90% of Alfredo because his physical 100% of his condition wasn't there. He was hanging out a little bit, and at that moment in time, like all fighters do, they think they're really invincible because they have beat so many great legends in Mexican history that that's just another one. So he didn't take it, but I told him, and we talked about this. I said, yo, this guy is better than all these other characters you fought. But he just did, in his mind, he was
untouchable.
He's untouchable.
Yeah.
So that's
that fine line of confidence.
Yeah, and we cried that night too, by the way. We did cry that night. We did cry. But, with Salvador Sanchez, only heaven knows the greatness that he was 122 greatness, 26 world champion, 30 he could have been world champion at 30, 35, 40.
He was big.
Who knows? The greatness of what he could have done was out of this world, man.
Okay.
Nobody would ever know.
I got a few more.
Could never know.
Carlos Ortiz.
Well, that's a good one too in our history.
Against Terry Norris.
No, Terry Norris was just too big for him.
What was that? One weight division?
No, but Terry Norris was 147. Carlos Ortiz was 35 and 40.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They meet in the middle, 142.
140. Nah, if Terry Norris was too much, I'm going to have to, Terry Norris was a big, strong kid.
He was huge.
Yeah.
I mean, he was strong, explosive.
Yeah. His chin wasn't as great as it should.
That's not fair, then. I shouldn't have said that one. I just wanted to bring Carlos Ortiz in because...
No, Carlos, a great fighter.
He was a
legend.
One of Customado's fighters, right?
No, he trained with Customato, and I think it's Ray Arcel too.
Ray Arcel?
Yeah.
He don't get that much credit. He was good, huh?
Yeah, very good fighter, a very good fighter.
Okay, I had a couple, man, but right now I didn't write them down. My mind
No,
is
this
just
is good. Como dices, freestyle.
Freestyle from the top of the head.
You say acapella, but it's freestyle.
Yeah.
What's another fight that I was thinking about? Oh yeah, I remember now.
You know what fight I would have loved to see?
Let me see. I want to know.
And that could have made it.
Let me pick what I think would
was Alexis Arguello at 135, 140 pounds fight Julio Cesar Chavez. I talked to Julio Cesar Chavez about that one time. All he did was just put a smile on his face. He says, I would have loved that too. All he told me was, I would have loved that fight. that would have been a great one.
Yeah.
Alexis Arguello versus Chavez.
Because Arguello had... I don't know. I think Chavez would win because now you're saying it. And I'm going to give you my opinion why.
Yeah,
Chavez wasn't Aaron Pryor, but damn close.
Real close.
And you saw what Pryor did to Arguello.
I know, but Aaron Pryor was a great fighter. It's just
he's an awesome fighter. He's a guy. He's on my top 5, but he don't get no respect.
No, the problem that Aaron Pryor, because I had a chance to know him and meet him personally. You know that
Ohio.
His nightlife was uncontrollable.
But
and too much.
Eric, but in the 80s wasn't that
what he did was too much. Huh?
In the 80s and late 80s and early 90s, that was the thing, man.
That's another story that we're facing in the 80s and in the 70s and 80s.
Early
we
90s.
were all into it. I'm not gonna lie about that.
Everybody had that little donut right here, huh?
Yeah, but the problem is that everybody knew when to quit, though.
Yeah.
See, as people say Camacho this, Camacho. No. Well, people didn't know that Camacho could be clean from 6 to 8 weeks. Now, after that, we're going to party for a lifetime or for about a month, let's say. I didn't mean a lifetime neither. I meant a month. And then go back, to the gym. But I'm going to tell you, it's great. People misunderstand. Yeah, Camacho did this, Camacho did that. However, my little brother, and I knew him, he can stay sober from 6 to 8 weeks, and that's all we needed. 6 to 8 weeks.
Okay, I got one for you. Hector Macho Camacho.
Legend.
Alexis Arguello.
Oh, that was a good one. Oh, my God. I don't know, man. I like Camacho on his speed, but, all you got to do is not get hit by... But he was too slick to get hit. That's another thing about Camacho, because you couldn't hit him flush. I talked to Chavez about that one time. And I said, but I couldn't hit him flush. He can move his body. Why can't I hit him flush?
At the right time, huh?
And I hit him with some very good shots, but I just couldn't hit him flush.
Okay, here's my dream. How about this one? Aaron Pryor against Hector Macho Camacho.
Oh my God. I don't know. Another great fight. What you got to understand, if you have Camacho 100% trained,
he could beat anybody. I wonder in the future.
Too smart, too fast.
AI is going to be able to set up fights.
I had a great
I fucking hope they start using that shit for something good.
And by the way, that could be the second greatest chin I ever saw, because Camacho had a great chin.
Oh, yeah.
He could withstand that shot. Chavez hit him because you couldn't hit him flush. That's a legend.
That's right.
My little brother, I love him.
You got any?
And since we talking, I'm gonna give you one last.
Let's go. Give it to me. We ain't in no rush.
I'm gonna give you one last one. And for you book readers, check this one out. In my memoirs, because I'm an old man now, so I could talk whichever way I want, because I'm not scared of anything in this world.
You guys heard that.
Hey, you book readers, check this out. Because remember, Hector Macho Camacho was like my little brother, huh? So I say this. Hey, you book readers, check this out. Hector Macho Camacho. What time is it?
Macho time.
It's macho time. A legend in life and in boxing. And his real killers, money never found. Raymond, and I heard, torture 3 found. In the island harbor sea boat, 3 were bound. For the island great white sharks, breakfast, lunch, and dinner found. I love you guys. I'll see you guys later. Think about that.
That's a riddle me this, riddle me that. I love that shit. So there was shark justice. Don't leave me hanging there.
Shark justice. Shark justice. Anyway, I love you guys. I'll see you guys later.
Hey, thank you for coming. Hold on. Hey, anybody have any questions for my boy? Ask us, and we'll bring him back on.
Yes.
It was an honor having him. And we got anything coming up? Any big fights?
Any big fights this weekend? Well, this past weekend we had some fights, but next weekend, not at the top of my head that I can remember right about now. This weekend, the 21st. I know there probably is, but I can't think of it.
Well, I know they got. It's not a big thing, but I know they got the Junior Olympics in Las Vegas.
Yeah,
they're out there right now.
That's right now.
Yeah, I think they're going out there right now.
Yeah, Coach Bashir left. He's out there right now too.
Okay.
Shout out to Sin Reglas, one of Brian Figueroa's sponsors. Thank you for the shirt. Women's boxing. I don't know if they have any events coming up. Any big fights? Oh, I know who I wanted to tell you before I forget. One of the fighters that I look up to right now, because he fights everybody, Usyk. The heavyweight.
Okay.
He fights everybody. He doesn't dodge and he hasn't ducked anybody.
Right. Good fighter.
Yeah. That right now that's active, and everybody else is kind of staying away from everybody.
Yeah. Hopefully we're trying to bring everybody together. Let's see if we can bring everybody together like the old days.
Yeah, man, that'd be cool.
That would be my next project that I'm trying to do.
He's trying to make all of us get together here first.
Yeah, why not?
Right?
Everybody.
Yeah,
we're trying to get everybody together in San Diego.
Yeah. Well, on that note, you guys don't forget to like, please subscribe, comment, anything you guys. It helps us a lot and keeps us going.
Share,
reshare, all that stuff. We appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Peace.
Yeah, I think the words, but sometimes they don't come out of my mouth no good.